Greetings, Mandrake here. This is Mission 12, Repository, on the difficulty Legendary, with all skulls on, except for Bandana. My starting loadout is I'm gonna have a BR and a shock rifle, be both fully loaded. About the first 25% or so, I would say, but first 25% of this mission is just sentinels. So that pretty much means due to thunderstorm, the vast majority of these, if not all of these sentinels, are going to have shock rifles. At least on this run. There may have been one that had a heat wave, but I don't recall exactly. So, starting out here, I kind of fumble and jumble around with what I'm going to carry, what I'm going to take, but essentially, like I said, it's just sentinels for the first majority of this. I'm going to take the extra, carry along and juggle the extra shock rifle, and I'm going to bring along the sentinel beam and make sure it's fully loaded while I'll try and get it off the rack. And it's one of those things of, please 343 fix this so I can get this off the rack. Because I'll turn, aim, got it right on, and why does it not grab the weapon? Or it grabs the weapon but just grabs the rack. I don't get it. It'll do it again too. Please 343 fix it. This is a game-wide thing. I want to grapple a weapon and it grapples something other than the weapon. I'm looking right at it. Okay, so with the sentinels, they, at least the tactic I use, I'm pretty much going to be fighting from doorways. I'll fight with the drop wall down. I will try and stay in cover. Some of the reasons why these sentinels are so difficult with this configuration, this difficulty configuration, legendary with, you know, the skulls, is their ability to swarm. They're hard to kill, as you know, they're mythic, they're twice as hard to kill. I guess I'd talk about their swarm. They flank you, they try and go above you, to your left, to your right, and being that they're hard to kill, they also, because of thunderstorm, they have the shock rifle, so a couple shots, dead-on shots, and you're dead. They move, they're very mobile and aggressive, and so, yeah, there's some difficulty with it. So my tactic in fighting them is going to be from a doorway and just kind of bottleneck them and try and take away their advantages of their mobility and their ability to flank you and get in places where, if you've got cover or obstacles, they like to get around those obstacles. So this room here is where we're going to get the first set of sentinels. There's going to be 3 of them that will emerge when you cross a trigger line. That trigger line is just as you cross this barrier, desk, whatever we want to call this. Coming up here, I'll walk in here. This first barrier that you get to, that I just tagged with the threat sensor, when you cross and pass it, is its trigger line, and what I'll do is I'm just going to make my way back to the hallway. Here they come, so it's going to be 3 of them. I'm going to get back into the hallway here, put a drop wall down, and you'll notice right away they kind of know what that drop wall is, and 1 or 2 is going to try and get above it. So it's just try and get 4 to 5 dead-on shots will get a kill. Sometimes if they're close enough, shooting through the drop wall will give the added shock effect, and will affect some of the other sentinels that are nearby, and they'll get an extra jolt. But there's also some cases where I find that it doesn't seem like it does much. They drop quite a bit of ammo in those shock rifles. It just seems that famine does not affect the shock rifles that much or at all. I don't know if it's a bug or what you want to call it, but you get plenty of ammo from the shock rifles that are dropped. The stockpile I'm going to be moving for the first portion of this mission is just going to be probably 3 full shock rifles, the BR, and a sentinel beam. Maybe an additional sentinel beams, because some of the hard light ammo dispensers are kind of buggy and don't want to reload or fill up your sentinel beam. So I kind of use it sparingly. I find that doing, say, a couple shots and a sentinel beam, trying to finish them off, works quite well, but I think I just do this grind of just trying to stay alive and just make my shots with the shock rifle. I try and be aware of their shots, because whenever they take a shot, there's a delay, and they're rather consistent with the delay. You can interfere with that consistency of their shot if you give them, if they take enough damage, it kind of throws them sideways, or just kind of like a weak state. You know, like whenever you take out the shield of an elite, take out the shield or knock the helmet off a brute, they kind of go a little sideways. They kind of rage a little. If you get that, then you disrupt their timing. Otherwise, you can shoot. You get a hit, then they shoot. You get a hit on them, then they shoot. You get a hit on, and the timing can be consistent. And there's kind of rare times where it's not. Now, as far as the numbers, I believe you're gonna get about 5. At least on this playthrough, there's gonna be 5, and I think they usually emerge whenever they get summoned. They'll do them in pairs, and in this hall here, it seems like they do them in 4s. So, as I counted all the sentinels in this section, or at least in this introduction, it looks like there's 4, but there's actually going to be 5. And I have notes from a previous playthrough of there being 8. And so I'm unsure of the randomness, and it may not really matter. I'm going to do the fight from the doorway, and I try and take out one at a time. Save one, try and melee to get the shield back and get the shield up. I think there is one left here. They do get a little aggressive, and sometimes you'll find one that will come into the doorway and almost come into the room, or actually pretty much enter the room, but don't really almost know what to do once they get in the room. So yeah, here's the 5th one that just kind of showed and was kind of a bit of a trailer, so I don't really get it. I think you had one as you step out that didn't have his shield activated, and I guess he's doing a scan and doing some kind of work. I don't want to say he or she, it doesn't really matter. And you have another one that's got his shield active, and I think there's another one. I think you end up with 4, but there's actually 5. But in any case, here's a bunch of dropped shock rifles. And so it's just kind of like, I got my choice. I got my pick here, and I think I'm just going to move along. 3 of them. 3 full ones, and I can always run back here. There's going to be, so this is the first trigger line, or the first trigger of these sentinels. There's going to be a second emergence, a second trigger line that's going to come up. I'm not sure when I went back to the other room for. But down at the end of this hall here, or down at the end of this walkway, there's going to be a hard light ammo dispenser. I think, yes, and it did work. There's another one that didn't work. And I think there was another playthrough I'd done this where that dispenser did not work. This one I'm here by right now. So I'm always a little hesitant to even want to use them, because there's been different times that they haven't worked. And just touching that light bridge is the trigger line for the next emergence, and there's going to be 4. And I had done a playthrough before where I just tried fighting them from this spot right here, and you got easily overwhelmed, and so I realized I'm better just do the fight and just do a slow play from inside this doorway. Play it safe and just stay alive, and just, take them out one at a time and just get it done. And I'm trying to grab some ammo, because I figure it takes a lot of shots to get these things knocked out. Yeah, here's one just you know, tries to come into the room, just gets, you know, just stops inside the doorway. Just be coming from here with the timing. Take a shot. There's the timing of the shots. I think I was trying to put a threat sensor out and I didn't have it selected. I almost grappled myself out there. I believe the drop wall, when it's maxed out, it will withstand, I think it can withstand at least 2 shots, but I think a third shot, if not a second, I know it will withstand a full shot, sometimes 2, but I think it depends upon the panel. It could actually, if it hits the same panel, yeah, then it's gonna be, it'll be weak and won't be able to stop a third. So at least try and move along when you look at the panels of the drop wall. At least try and position yourself so you're not behind a weakened panel. And there's the timing. Not sure, but I thought it shot me, so I'm gonna have to punch it again. But I forego that. Lots of shock rifle ammo. Lots of it. There's no shortage. So it's just gonna be, I'll speed it up here, where I'll just move along the stockpile. And like I'm thinking, I think I move at least 3 full shock rifles. Here's another hard light ammo dispenser that I passed by. That little doorway that I went in, that'll be another place to hold up to fight some more sentinels. I found it different. There was different places I was trying to fight them in the upcoming emergence or triggers that triggers their emergence. And I find when trying to fight, not necessarily in the open, but pretty much in the wild, that they'll swarm you and you're just at a disadvantage. They get around, you put the drop wall down and they just go around it, they'll go through it, they get all around you, and you get killed quick. So I do my fights from the doorways. They typically aren't aggressive enough to all push in through the doorway. You'll get one, as you saw earlier, one just pushed into the doorway. And so there's the trigger line as you walk up to this doorway to enter back into the open area. It's along this walkway that triggers the next 4 sentinels to come out. And just heard, see, 2 of them came out, and it's like I heard a second emergence of them come out. And that coil that I dropped was just my reminder, as my kind of like a reminder that this is the doorway, this is where I want to go, because I figured I would be leaving and falling back in a hurry, and I could easily pass up and miss the doorway that I had thrown all my stuff in. So it was just so I wouldn't miss it. And just for giggles, I went to throw that coil. I know it just didn't seem like I even missed. I didn't really do much. Here it is. I've been working on the timing of the shots. It's kind of a buggy thing for the sentinels to kind of get caught in little pockets like that, and so they're an easy pop a shield and get a melee so you can get your shield back. So that was the third emergence or reinforcements of sentinels, and there'll be one more coming up. And there's still 1 or 2 more trailers out here. Yeah, so there's 2 of them hanging around. And I guess got summoned at some point or another. Yeah, I need plenty of ammo because I can miss shots. There's times I feel like I get robbed because there's times where I know I'm getting a nice, direct, solid hit on either the eye or the face, and it should just be 4 shots. And I'll find times where it takes more than 5 shots, or more than 4 shots sometimes. It's 4 to 5, easily 5. And there's times, I don't know if it's a glancing shot that's maybe accounting for it or something like that. But yeah, it takes a lot of shots. I think this is the last trigger. I think when I go into this last walkway before the last bridge, you walk along here and you'll trigger the last emergence, and you get 4 more. Get down here and it's just right here, that last doorway, and then quickly ult and get back as quick as you can. They move quickly and swarm quickly. Already gonna get shot at here in a moment. They did. And that kind of concerned me. Here I grappled past the doorway. Yeah, they had no trouble finding me. Also, the shield, I haven't necessarily figured out the timing or how it comes back, but it's not like the shield like a Spartan or an Elite, or the functionality of, say, like the Elite and the Brutes work. Because if you got an Elite and you've taken the shield down, and if you give it any kind of damage, its shield will not recharge. Well, with the Sentinels, the shield goes down and it's gonna come back up whether it's shot or not. And its timing, I believe, is consistent. They're just grappling that coil, alerted them, and they kind of changed the location and figured out where I was. So I was glad it didn't have to hop across or jump down and go after them. They at least recognized where I was, or at least knew there was something going on. I was hoping to grab a hold of one of those and punch. But that's the last set of Sentinels. I'll work my way back to my stockpile, which is I have right along here. And I'll move this along to the end of the doorway and into the next area, where I'll encounter more Sentinels. And good to see the hard light ammo dispenser still working. As far as this mission goes, I usually try and if I remember to, I try and offer a summary as to the hardest parts of the mission. This one, it's hard to really identify what its hardest parts are, if there's really something hard about it. On paper, you can easily look and see, you know, the room that requires 2 power seeds to activate a lift, whereas you have to
give us what we need.
where you have to work your way into a room where it's being guarded by 2 chieftains. On paper, that looks to be difficult, but you'll find the skulls, at least one of the skulls kind of gives you an advantage, or at least 2 of the skulls gives you an advantage, and a particular weapon. And when used, it can be extremely effective and will look easy. Really, the hardest parts of this mission has to do with probably this first part, by fighting off all the sentinels. This can be a difficult part of the mission. There's a giant hall, and I don't mean like hallway, just hall. There's a giant hall where there's where there's several enemies and to fight up against. Yeah, that one can be difficult. It has there's like a plasma turret in the middle of it. And, you get some sentinels to start with. You get a surprise 2 other sentinels unexpectedly show up. Elites, brutes, Jetpack brute major. So there's plenty of enemies and lots of difficulties with it, so that can be difficult. Playing it slow and doing a slow play, just get one enemy at a time. It didn't really come across as so difficult, but there's some. You get around the middle part of that hall, and you get a couple elites, and there's a Jetpack brute major that you know, because of their numbers, really kind of adds to its difficulty. And there's a place here or there where it seems difficult, but as the playthrough, as you watch it, it might actually just kind of look easy. There were just times where the plan just didn't want to work. Grapple pound didn't seem to want to work. I try and grapple the enemy and it doesn't grapple, it grapples something else. The grapple pound didn't work like it was supposed to, or as expected. I already got his shield. Take the shot. There we go. Thank you. Another shot. Take one more. Got the punch. Got back onto the walking platform for the walkway. That worked out. Your choice and option if you wish to continue to engage the free-floating, free-roaming additional sentinels in the next areas you can see from distance. I find that at that distance they typically don't engage, but they will engage. But I seem to find that if I engage them, then they're obviously going to engage back, or they'll get into cover. So if you're going to try and shoot and take them out from distance, try and do so and hope that they don't get into cover, because they'll get into cover, but that damage carries over and will hold over. So if you come across them again, you pop the shield, and then in 2, you know, maybe in a couple more shots, you'll get them taken out. This next room coming up, and here we go with the whole grapple thing not working right. So this next room, I think walking in the room or walking through the doorway at some point triggers one sentinel come out, and I think 2 of them come out. I just can't recall. See, there he just got triggered, and it's before you get to the doorway. And I think this trigger brought 2 of them out. got my shield. I'm looking for the second one. I didn't see it. Maybe I need to get a threat sensor out. Yep, there it is. It's at the door. Not even sure if I was tagged or not. Waiting for the shot, and I guess he just got bored and didn't want to shoot. And I'm moving in to get a melee. Stockpile moving time. This section can be a bit difficult. You're going to get 2 sentinels at the start here. Can't really say that these 2 are really difficult. It's the other 2 that will emerge as you get out, as you approach the pedestal. So as you cross the bridge, they will come out. And they don't exactly approach too much. They kind of hang back, which makes shooting them difficult because they will take cover. You kind of feel like you have to kind of come out and play when I get to them. They can kind of spread themselves out so that they are out, so that the drop wall doesn't protect you. I think they're scripted to stay within a certain range of the door or the middle pedestal and not spread out too much. But I find it's best to do the fight from within the doorway. I think when I did this playthrough, I forgot about the sentinels being summoned as I walk across the bridge. I think I'm just looking around for them, and there we go. I walk out onto the bridge, and here they come. I think it caught me off guard, and I forgot about them. There's going to be 2 of them, and like I said, they're just hanging back. Me, I'm just trying to grapple an additional weapon. I end up getting tagged. Make one more shot, and I'm done for. I had a few deaths on this portion. Just had lots of bad luck. I'm not really sure how well I tried. I'm not sure how much, if I executed well, or if it was just trying to do a plan or a tactic that wasn't working out well. You're just having the hard luck of getting shot, and my shots, missing my shots or whatever the case was, but I would get tagged here or there, and it would just be, the shot is just instantaneous and the death is instantaneous. So I think I'd had a shot on me. One more shot and I'm done for. I think I got a little touched up there. Yeah, so you still got the 2. They're hanging back out. They're hanging back there. That drop will only last for so long, so I think I'm just waiting for it to recharge. There it goes, and now drop it out and keep on going. See if I can get one of these, just one at a time, trying to get one of them down here. one of those panels is already lit up. I don't want to be in the line of sight with that busted panel. Finally, one down. This one seemed to want to push up a little more since it took its partner out. I had a couple shots in on that one, apparently. Went through a lot of ammo. Activating this plinth will trigger some Vanish to come through the doorway. The door will open, you'll get a brute, major, and a couple grunts.
The Banished have found us. Chief, look out!
I really need to put a drop wall down and make sure this shock rifle's ready to go. Four shots. Take out that brute. The drop wall was severely damaged, and any of those shots would have gotten me. Disruptor shots. I'm unsure about these sentinels. I don't think they're going to charge. They're going to hang back. I want to say I see second one, but it's not. It's just a glowing beam of something. There's a hard light ammo dispenser underneath this door. I'm working my way back to get more ammo, or at least max out the ammo of the rifle I'm carrying. Yeah, I gotta be careful with that. Easily could have gone off the edge, but probably not too big a deal. There's still gonna be more sentinels. There's gonna be two. The trigger line was like halfway through the doorway. At least the hall, this little short hallway. Not the halfway point. Triggered the sentinels come out. There's gonna be a skirmisher. I wanna say two. So there's two skirmishers and two sentinels, and there's gonna be a mule. He's at the top of the ramp. It's like a kind of a horseshoe room or ramp. Ramp room. I want to say it's a. What is it? Ramp upward. I want to say it ramps upward. Wow, I missed that shot. Get some ammo underneath. Up, down. Refill. And that one works. This room is where it ramps downward, or the ramp goes downward. There'll be a mule down below, and there's also a couple of shielded jackals. I think they're jackal majors that are outside the doorway. They don't come into the room. There's kind of a little short, if you want to call it a hallway. It's a little bit of a hall. It is very short though. They hang out in there, and yeah, see that kind of almost a hallway looking thing. They hang out in there, and one of them can kind of get scared and run away. Putting up a fight, and then like I've got friends. He's gonna fall back to his friends. There it goes. Okay, I had a little damage. Got my shield back. Now it's moved the stockpile. The mule dropped a Ravager, and I didn't really catch whether weapon, but neither weapon are really of interest. At least any interest to me. So back out into this open hall area. There's going to be... I already took out the 2 jackals. I want to say there's a couple... At least my notes has a couple sentinels, but there aren't any. But there's a kinetic ammo dispenser and a shock ammo dispenser. This would be my time to... after I clear off these enemies, which should be a brute major... Actually, he was a brute sniper. He didn't have a shield. And you got these 2 skirmishers. You can always save one of them for if you need to get shield back. Those, if you happen to hit the little mini shield on their forearms, yeah, we've got to put the threat sensor down because there's a brute major waiting with a rocket launcher around the corner of the hallway. You walk around that corner, I mean, just completely unexpected. Now he can easily take you out. That is, if he decides to shoot the instant he sees you, which they are well known to do. Yeah, I think I just reloaded that shock rifle. So, in other words, it's had a couple shots, and that shock ammo dispenser did not want to work. Not really a big deal because there's plenty of shock ammo, and there will be more sentinels. But it's only, there's just very few. It's mostly going to be banished from here on with just some sentinels sprinkled in, and I mean just lightly sprinkled. Yeah, that brute sniper was carrying a shock rifle. They drop as much ammo as sentinels do, if not more. I think I'm trying to figure out my plan for attack. Gonna attack. And it worked fine that time. There'll be a scripted cutscene coming up, so it's just move the stockpile bit of a ways. I think I pull the plasma pistol and pulse carbine and move it along as well. The shock rifles will be very effective against grunts. I think some of the fights upcoming fights, there'll be some grunts that are somewhat kind of close enough for a plasma pistol.
Ahead, out the window.
And others will be distant enough, medium to longer range, where it's better just to use the shock rifle. And I got plenty of shock rifle ammo. So I've got options for the grunts that are coming up, and of course the BR for the jackals, variety of jackals. Then the brutes, I can still use a shock rifle, like 4 shots, 4 headshots.
If it's rebuilt, I can only imagine their intention.
Or I just, I can't recall if I'm bringing along the pulse carbine. Yeah, there it is. I am bringing it along. So there's no enemies here, but there are enemies at your choice of you want to go to the left or go to the right. Under the ramps, you see the ramp I'm looking at, there was the skewer, and I think it's just leaning up against something, so it's just 2 shots. There's not a point. I don't even have a point of taking long. And then to the left, there's a sniper rifle. It's a 4-shot sniper rifle and a kinetic ammo dispenser, so you can get more BR ammo I choose the path to the left. It's just a bunch of grunts, and I really don't recall what the right door is going to be. A jackal sniper, there's an elite and a skimmer, and then I think 5 skirmishers, if I got it noted right. So the left door is just a bunch of grunts. Sounded like I took a little bit of damage. Yeah, they're gonna throw nades. Lots of nades. Thank you, Catch. So it's just taking one at a time. And there's a mule shooting at me, and I gotta take care of that. I think there's 7 grunts in this room. Either 5 or 7. I know it's an odd number. Okay, so I found my notes on this section. So there's 6 grunts and 1 mule. If you go the other direction, it's 1 mule and 2 sentinels. And he's gonna drop a BR and an AR from his pack. And I'll be able to fill up my plasma pistol, because he's using and wielding a plasma pistol. The next room coming up, we'll have 2 Jackal snipers. They have stalkers, and then an elite will be kind of guarding the doorway, as in like to continue to the next room doorway. I think I refer to this room as kind of a single pier room, kind of a small, medium, kind of a medium small single pier room, which is very similar to the very next room that you go to from here, which will have a, I think it's with the Grunt birthday party skull. Since I've already collected on this account, I will not be going through any of the skulls. So I just took out 2 of the jackals. Now I should just work on the elite. Up above, where I'm looking there, are some elites that are gathered. They're uninvolved. You can just hear them chatting and talking. You can climb up there, throw a threat sensor, and you find like 4 or something. Making sure I had a shield, got a punch on them, and I am prepared. So this next room that I'm looking into, it's one where it can be difficult. So you can still hear the elites talking and yapping. I think if you climb up there and look for them, they kind of scatter and scuttle away. But I think in this playthrough, I don't mess with them. I was really focused on just trying to get this mission done and get through it. So now I have a sword I can move along, and there'll be more elites coming up, and I'll be able to max out and fill up the sword. It'll be full shortly. I don't think I mess with the heat wave. It has very few uses, so I have enough stuff that I'm moving as it is. I move all this stuff just so that I'm prepared for whatever battles, whatever situation that I get faced with. I'll have options. So this next room, as I mentioned, going to have 2 sentinels. We'll see what the trigger line is because I can't recall. And there's going to be a Jetpack brute major. He's kind of back behind one of those pillars. Not showing up on the threat sensors. Here come the sentinels. And there's the jetpacker. Somehow was not showing up on the threat sensor. Yeah, I even watching on the playthrough on this, I'm looking and saw myself put the shock rifle down, and I'm kind of wondering, I'm gonna pick that up. Yeah, that sentinel just ate 4 shots. And this one's gonna self-destruct. Now I just have the jetpacker. I find it random if the enemies to the left and the right, because at the right doorway is an elite, a jackal sniper, and a skimmer, and on the left you get a brute major, a jackal sniper, and a skimmer. It's just wondering how much they get involved. You know, they'll throw. Yeah, you saw right there they throw nades. At least the brute threw a nade. The elite just kind of hanging back, not getting involved. And at this point, the jackal snipers aren't getting involved. So it can be difficult because you want to get engaged, at least pick a doorway and engage something. And as you engage one of them, then the other doorway, the enemies in the other doorway can engage you. Yeah, I don't know how that coil missed. And that wasn't such a good idea. I pounded right next to one of those coils. So here's you trigger those 5 skirmishers at the midway point of that little doorway as you walk, almost like the little hall part of it. And it triggers the same on the other side. I can't recall if you have to trigger once on the other side the same. So each pathway, the left or the right, is going to have 5 skirmishers come out. They're going to be triggered as you go through the doorway. What skirmishers don't engage you and run away will congregate and consolidate into a single room, which is further on. Where if you go to the left or you go to the right, you go through a hallway and you will end up going into a room, up a ramp into a room, and all of those skirmishers that survived and, you know, this encounter will be hanging out in that room to the left and to the right of the room. And it's not necessarily difficult. You take out one at a time, use the drop wall, and just kind of slow play. It's not a big deal, just simple BR headshots. So, like I was saying, you go either to the left doorway, the right doorway. It will meet. This path will meet together, and at that intersection where it meets, there's going to be an elite. It's a dark hallway, and that'll be. That's what will be what you'll be facing. So it seems that this elite just not bothering to get involved. I grappled that coil because I had tried previously to grapple the elite, and I had difficulties with the consistency, or really the inconsistencies, and there's really the trigger. I went through that doorway, and there goes the 5 skirmishers. None of them really stuck around to engage me. See, there's again, it was another nice grapple, and it didn't kill him, but then that one did. And there they go, just kind of caught. You know, they were too far away to chase them down. There's really no point chasing them down or engaging them. Where they end up is going to be easy enough to handle. them. That weapon rack had, I think it looked like 2 pulse carbines and a plasma pistol, but I have plenty. I got plenty of what I got here. On paper, if you kind of just think about this elite in a dark hallway, close quarters, can be difficult. And I got plenty of options, all the weapons I got in this and that. There's plenty of options, but I think I'd just go with just a grapple pound on them. It's, you know, interesting why I would choose that after the inconsistency I had with this other elite. The other deaths that really were not part of this, it didn't get to see. The grapple just wouldn't grapple the elite at times. And very consistent with the grapple pound even doing anything. I'd grapple pound him twice and he still have a shield. And then this here, just a single grapple pound, dead and gone. And it just didn't seem any different from how I grapple pounded the others, and the others just, you know, failed to work. And I'm just gonna kind of clear the hallway a bit here. Move the stockpile. And so this next room is the room that's gonna have a bunch of skirmishers. The numbers can be different because, like I said, they from the two different hallways, they come running out. Some of them will come out and engage you, some of them won't. So just put your threat sensors out, and there's going to be 1 or 2 grunts. I think it's 2 grunts on the right side. And so that's going to be your grouping of enemies. You see they're just kind of dug in a little bit, and they'll step out. Just simple headshots, and you use what you want for the grunts. Plasma pistol, pulse carbine, shock rifle. Yeah, some of these skirmishers have manglers, some have needlers. Yeah, that one had a needler. Oh, as I was trying to say earlier about the skirmisher and their little mini shield on their forearms, if you punch the little forearm mini shield, it will not count toward recharging your shield. Nothing to this room, no enemies, just a Grav Lift. I think there's a scripted cutscene of some sort or dialogue. I'm just gonna bring in the stockpile, start it up, and throw the weapons into the Grav Lift. Up top here is a heat wave, which I won't need. And there's no power seat or anything. And I don't think this room has any other items in it. I think it's just the heat wave. I reduced the amount of weapons that I'm taking along because there's really just a
There's another lift
couple
nearby.
enemies
It'll
here,
take us close to the surface.
and then it'll be the room that requires the 2 power seeds.
Nothing with that thing. Everyone's so scared of.
Just the brute.
You're dead.
And I just did a punch instead of a pound, because I needed to get my shield back.
Not my armor.
And I'm sure I got a melee there. I don't know if I shot him or what. Definitely need to get some damage on me. Alright, so this room that requires 2 power seeds, or at least a grav lift requiring 2 power seeds. There's going to be 2 grunts at the rear of the room, which, by the way, you enter like the side rear of the room, like a lower deck, and you got these 2 grunts kind of like on the upper deck walkway, rear of the room, which, okay, not there yet. This is a small room. There's a a brute sniper up overhead. Simple 1-shot kill with the shock, and 1 more brute. Sometimes the brute that came into this room may fall back into that room where you had the sniper, and that way you'll be fighting 3 brutes. But this one hung around, the other one fell back. So I still have a chance to get a shield by punching this one out.
Give me a real fight.
He got a shot on me, but I punched him and got a full charge on my shield. There are 2 kinetic ammo dispensers there. Now let's move the stockpile. And what I've been talking about this whole time, we'll finally get the Grav Lift room that requires 2 power seeds. And as I was starting to say, you got 2 grunts at the rear upper deck of the room. There'll be a Jackal Major, a Jackal Minor, kind of 1 to the left, 1 to the right. They kind of move around, so their positioning can be random. And there'll be a plasma turret in the middle center bridge of the room, manned by a grunt. And there'll be 2 brutes, 1 to the left and 1 to the right of the room, pretty much around the seed terminals. And once the last enemy dies, the doors will unlock and open so that you can go into them. I'll get the threat sensor down to see the two grunts. They are not alerted, I don't think. I think they're cautious, but I don't think they have their shields up. But I don't think it's gonna matter much. There might be a chance you could just jump shoot one of them. But there's really not much of a chance you're gonna be able to jump and get both of them. I think they're on alert. Yeah, a bunch of junk here, making the attack a little difficult. Yeah, they got their shields on. He drops a nade, and there's all kinds of coils around me. So that's a Jackal Major firing his weapon. Got the Mangler. hear one of the brutes yapping. This room isn't particularly difficult, but can be difficult with that turret in play. But there's plenty of obstructions in the way where you can kind of take it out of play.
Down here. We're going to need to find a way to get it back online.
Yeah, you throw in those nades, really kind of got to dance out of the way. I can use this moment to move along some weapons. Now I bring the skewer along because in previous playthroughs or previous encounters with Chieftains, I find one can at least, I don't want to say easy, but an efficient way of taking them out would be to take out the shield first with like carbine or something like that and just remove the shield. A single headshot with the skewer removes the helmet, making them a headshot. And so that was originally going to be my plan until I remembered coming across, which I will be talking about when I get there.
You're incoming!
That was interesting. That nade, I don't even think that nade took a shield out. The shock rifle took care of it. Made him a headshot. And 4 shots again. That's pretty consistent. So he's the last one. I'll just grapple behind him. He might get a shot on me, but it won't be enough to kill me, and then I can just punch him out for a shield. Doors open, so now you got your pick of which door to go through, which I will talk about. As far as which is left and right, if you go to the rear of the room and you face the seed terminals, then I look at them as left and right from that view, from that perspective. So from this position where I'm at, where I'm juggling the weapons, you have the door to the right and the door to the left. So my choice is to go to the door to the right first, and I'll explain why once we get through and I go through there. And of course I could just go ahead and mention it now while I juggle these weapons, get ready to go. If you choose to do this option, or the reason why I'm doing it is to get a cinder shot. The cinder shot can take out the Chieftains with a single shot. It's just there's inconsistencies with the cinder shot for that to really happen, but it's consistent enough for it to be effective and for it to work. And what I mean is I could bounce a shot and hit the enemy, and in a single shot will kill them. You do the exact same thing with the next enemy, and it won't even take their shield out. And I can fire 3-4 shots that way and just seem like ineffective, and then I do the 5th one, and then it finally worked like it's supposed to. Then the other option is just to direct hit. You shoot direct hit. No, I can do the same thing with that, and it's like the same result. It's just, it either works, and when it works, it is extremely effective. One single shot kill, done. But there's times where it's like 3, 4, 5 direct hits before it works. So it's still effective and will work fine. So I go to the right choice here, and it's just headshots with the BR. You got these skimmers, and just get a drop wall down and you take out these skimmers. They all have rocket launchers, and being that they're skimmers, their nades are going to be dynamos. So you want to get the drop wall down, make sure they're not going to be a problem. You don't want the dynamos getting to you. They're not as reliable to punch there's something with their dynamics that sometimes you can get a punch on them and sometimes you can't. It's weird. I grapple them, and as you go to punch them, it's like you whiff the air. You're punching through them, and the punch doesn't count. Not sure what I'm falling back for or looking for. I pretty much have what I need. Oh, I'm looking for the BR. I take the shock rifle along because there's going to be a couple sentinels after the Chieftains. He's throwing his dynamos already, and he made a bad throw. To the left is going to be jackals. But I go to the right, and there's just, there's 7 skimmers. There's 4 to begin, and then followed by 3 more. And yet their numbers, as far as their positioning and range, can be different. It's just I had it noted as I get 4 of them at first, and then I get 3 more. So that's the first 4, and then there's 3 in the back. And like I said, simple headshots. I don't think any of them got a shot off with the rocket launcher. I am not going to bother carrying a rocket launcher. I will not be using it. And I juggle back to this room the plasma pistol because I don't have a use for it anymore going forward for this section. Same should be for the carbine, but the thing is, my mindset is still on the skewer, pulse carbine, take the shield out, headshot with skewer, and then headshot with a BR. And maybe it was just I realized, okay, I got this doorway and I got the cinder shot, and I could just do it that way. Being the cinder shots on a weapon rack, it's gonna be mostly loaded. It's kind of default off of a rack, how it's equipped. Which would be, I think it's gonna be like a 6 and 6, so 6 in the clip and 6 in reserve. And when max, it's 618. You can also keep in mind, you could also use, here we go, you get cinder shot, got the cinder shot, but also sentinel beam, which I will also move that along as well. I look to at least try and take the shield out, because again, with the inconsistencies with the cinder shot, it doesn't seem to matter whether this got a shield or not, but it's just an added improving my odds of it working successfully. So I feel if I could sentinel beam off the shield, then I can, maybe use less ammo on the Chieftain. Here I think I've decided that I don't need one of these weapons that I'm carrying back. It's the carbine I'm moving back, or if it's the skewer. No, I'm taking back the carbine. I'm not sure why I'm hanging on to the skewer. And so to max out the sentinel beam, I just touch up on the other one. Oh, as I was saying about the skimmers, they drop the dynamos, so you can also use a few dynamos, but there's no dynamos in this hallway. But the way this will work is you can engage the Chieftains But once the sentinels come out, this doorway I'm standing in, this door will close and lock, and there's no going back into here. So you won't be able to go back and get any more dynamos. But what can be done is just time consuming. What you can do is grapple the dynamos into this hallway. And no, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to put my threat sensor down, I'm going to put a drop wall down, and I'm going to engage this first Chieftain with the scrap cannon. And there I realize I got my cinder shot ready to go. Got my drop wall ready. Put one more threat sensor down. I got the drop wall out. And a direct hit. Took that one out. So I bounced the first one. This one I decided I'm just going to use the cinder. So I'm going to use the... Try and take a shield out a little bit. And it took 2 shots. Not sure how effective the first shot was. So I grabbed the scrap cannon, decided I'm going to use it on the sentinels. The trigger line is, you see that kind of rough kind of area on the ground. You walk onto that section, into that area, and that will trigger the sentinels to come out. And it's just 2 sentinels. Here's that area, you walk onto that kind of rigid area, and then that triggers them to come out. They don't see where I'm at right now. The scrap, okay, 3 sentinels. One of them may have a heat wave. And punched and got, yep, that
like
one.
We're trapped in
I guess
here.
that one dropped a heat wave, if that wasn't from one of the Chieftains. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to be messing with the heat wave. I don't even need to mess with the skewer. And I'm not going to be taking along the... I'm not going to take along the scrap cannon. So as I was saying, the cinder shot just makes it look
Or
easy.
maybe not. A teleporter just powered up.
So here you can just throw items through the portal, and they will end up on the other side without a problem. Pretty cool sound. I think I just leave the sentinel beam behind. Yeah, and here's two cinder shots on this rack. This is also the same room that you will come out from the next room you go to where you engage and get another power seed. You'll come out to the same area. So I'll pick up that cinder shot, and when I go through this other and get the other power seed, I'll end up here and I can get the rest and fill up more ammo. Cinder shot. That door you see locked will unlock. Actually, that's the door that I think we went through. We didn't go through the. We went through the right door first. So now that left door will open.
Not enough power. Wait, is that Earth?
Yes.
What's it doing here?
Okay,
It's
so this right
beautiful.
door.
We need more power. Let's go.
So with this passage that we go through, there's going to be where when we went before, there was a bunch of skimmers. There's going to be just a bunch of skirmishers and jackals and 2 brutes. So I think a single skirmisher, a mule. The mule is going to be last, and there'll be 2 jackal snipers and 2 brute snipers, and they'll have skewers. If you go the other direction, I'm trying to see what you get when you go the other direction. I think it's just a bunch of grunts. Yeah, it seems like there's 7 grunts if you go the opposite way. Oh, I'm wild with my shooting.
You're making me mad! Stop this! Go!
Guys, stop dying!
And just making sure I get a shield. Dispatch with that mule. And I'm going to take this plasma pistol back to the room. I don't need to take it all the way. Think about it, I didn't even use it. I didn't need it for either direction. I guess I'll need to make a note where I don't have to, where I can just note what I need to take. So at this point, I just need the center shot and a shock rifle. Now, as many times as I've done this, I never really knew that what the second enemy was here. Obviously, we got the hammer chieftain, but the second enemy was usually so distant I couldn't see what it was, and for some reason I had it noted it was like a chieftain with a Hydra. But I think it turns out that it's just a jetpack brute. I usually end up killing them from distance and not even see them shoot. So yeah, well, that just looked easy. Now I just got to work on the sentinels. Not really sure why I'm messing around with the skewer. I don't know if that skewer is like some kind of plan B or what. Not sure what what destroyed them so quickly. As many times as I engaged sentinels, it's hard to imagine 2 shots taking out 2 sentinels so quickly. And then the third one wanted to self-destruct. And once again, I just need the shock rifle and the cinder shot. And there is no going back. I think you can go through the portal and go back into that room, but the door is all locked, so you cannot go back in there. So whatever you want to bring along, or whatever you leave behind, whatever you leave behind is left behind. No going back. So as far as going forward, the enemies that are coming up, there is kind of a difficult fight. It's kind of an arena-like room, very similar to one of the rooms we've already seen earlier, where I said there was just it was a Grav Lift, and there was no enemies. There was like a heat wave, but yeah, we're gonna get that kind of same room again, but it's gonna be a little more difficult.
My capabilities, and I am fully acquainted with yours. If the Earth's government wants to fight, feel free. But hear this. It is a battle you will not win.
Wait. She threatened Earth?
Her forces led an assault on the UNSC in Sydney. Wiped it out.
Wiped out the headquarters?
All of it. We had to hide, regroup, come up with a plan
To stop her?
to survive.
Alright, so the stockpile going forward, pulse carbine, plasma pistol, sword, shock rifle, and the cinder shot. Cinder shot is going to be key with another chieftain coming up. And once again, more difficulties with grappling weapons off of the ground. I'm not sure I used the pulse carbine. And here I just hop on the turret just to see if I have a shield, which I did, and I was confident I did, but it was just making sure.
It asked and I answered. For a moment of safety.
So this top lift lobby, there's no enemies up here. But coming up into the arena room that's coming up, so I want to note something very important about this room as it applies to if you are moving a stockpile like I am. Work your way up within a step or two of entering the room and juggle your weapons into the room. The thing is, if you cross the doorway into the room, the door will lock behind you. So you get within like that shadowy area and try not to cross that, and just toss your weapons in. You'll be facing as in at the 12 o'clock door, as in the door straight ahead, so that'll be your 12 o'clock. That door will have a scrap cannon chieftain. Then the door to your right, which will be the 3 o'clock door, will open. There'll be 2 brutes and a grunt. And then after that one, then the 9 o'clock door will open and you'll get 2 brutes. I will be choosing to go to the 3 o'clock door, or the door to the right. Because the door to the left, you go that path and you'll encounter a couple elites, whereas if you go to the door to the right, those elites, I didn't encounter them. I think there was other playthroughs where, I don't know if they were alerted or whatever the case is, I wonder if they're set up in a way to where whatever the threats are, they can choose which path or doorway, because the pathway will merge into a hallway. But they apparently don't bother. So as you saw there, you walk in the door closes, you're stuck in the room.
This should be simple enough.
So after the cutscene that plays out when you activate the button here, that 12 o'clock door will open within a few seconds. You want to get yourself some cover and make sure you get a drop wall and use your cinder shot and take them out quickly, because the door to the right will open up within a few seconds. I wonder if they're scripted or if there's a timing. I have not
Let's go save him.
dissected it enough to know what the timing is. So he was a simple one shot. You'll see same thing, kind of drop kick, and they survive, not even taking their shields out. And then the last door will open. So I guess once the last enemy dies, then this door will open. Yeah, didn't take his shield out. Punching him in the back too, and the game is, I guess, set up in a way. I think there's been times where if you punch him square in the back, you can get kind of a one-hit kill, and there is a cinder shot with 6 shots in it that's up on top there, so I picked that up and I've got some more ammo for the cinder shot, but I'm only going to use it for a couple, maybe only a couple more shots. So at this point, there's just a few enemies to take out, and I think I can take out the remainder of these enemies with a BR, because with the path I'm going to take to the right, there's going to be, I'm trying to find my note here. So my right door is going to be 4 skirmishers, 2 skimmers, and a jackal major, all you can get with the headshot with the BR. So at this point I really start thinking about, once I take these, there was 2 shots, 3 kills. And I just have that 2 skimmers. I think I take them out before they even shoot the rockets. Go ahead and peek. Take a peek. So at this point I'm starting to think about what weapons would I need to carry into the next mission, which is the road. And it's gonna be BR and shock rifle. Being that the enemies you're gonna be facing off against, for starters, they're gonna be kinda distant. And, you know, being the grunts got shields, you just can't headshot them. You need to take their shield out, so the shock rifle is gonna be used for them. And then you've got a brute, there'll be a brute major. And so he's going to be a few shots to get taken out, like 4 shots with a stalker. I'm sorry, not stalker, but the shock rifle. And thing is, you can easily run out of ammo, and you can kind of get stuck. But I'll be talking about the road once you get around that corner. Well, not the corner in this game, just proverbially. I think that was an accident by shooting the cinder shot. And yet maybe it was just for fun, because I'm going to be leaving it behind. I think I'm going to punch this one. And there's a audio log that you acquire automatically when you go through the room there. Now that room that I'm looking at, there's I think a audio log in there. But I'm not collecting or have anything to do with it, the audio logs or skulls. Yeah, the mule drops a sniper rifle and a Hydra. And if you got a co-op partner, then yeah, sure, take the Hydra or the... Yeah, you could take the Hydra and fill it up here with this kinetic ammo dispenser. And then the sniper, it's only 4 shots, so it's, you know, one's choice if you want to take that along. One thing could come in handy if you could take that sniper rifle that's laying here and not use it. You'll collect sniper rifle ammo. It'll be a 4-shot sniper laying around, and that way you can go into House of Reckoning with a 8-shot sniper instead of 4. So I think I'm not sure what it is I'm weighing on or thinking on, but winding this one down, this is the end of Repository. Thank you for joining me for this one. I look forward to you joining me on the next mission, The Road.
We made it. Now all we need to do is... Wait. I'm picking up something on all banished frequencies. That is not good.
What's wrong?
I know where he is. What this place is. This is where Chaklock shipped his victims to. The House of Reckoning.